Not waiting for inspiration. If I waited for inspiration, it would never come. These are my friends. They're all here. That's my mom's deathbed painting, celebrating her life. That one was in the New York Times. I was really proud of that one. How I got a commissions in Florida. I had a review from the painting center, and she called me genius. I will never forget it. That's what every artist wants to hear. And again, it's three-dimensional. And to work this big, you have to be physical. You have to be in good shape. And then this one is the winter solstice. This was before I knew I had to gesso them. Now I know gesso it so the paint goes smooth. Everything is trial and error. This is the Belmont racetrack when I drew everything in a sketch pad. And this is what got me the Emerging Artist of Queens. And these were all created with a ballpoint red pen in a tiny little sketchbook. This is the geometric period, and I still like to look at these because they've done stuff that I've never done before. And welcome to my studio. My name is Lisa Petker Mintz. I'm an artist, a mother, teacher, a wife. So many different roles, but they all feed my art career. I grew up in Rosedale, which was an experience. Moved into Rosedale and I went to kindergarten, and I remember the teacher said to my mother, don't give her coloring books because it's a waste, because I could draw so well, and I was always known for coloring and drawing because I don't know if it was an escape for me or if my mother was on the PTA, my mother was on the school board, and she would just sit me down and they'd give me brand new crayons and I would just draw. And in one of the school board offices, they had the Picasso with the flowers in the hand. Yep. And I never saw anything like that, and I was like in love. Like, Picasso was my first love because it was just hanging there. At first I was in the design part of the art school, and the people had better training than I did, and I was like an awkward person. Like, I couldn't really fit, I never really fit in. It wasn't my thing. Maybe I didn't care to, maybe I lived in a dream world. But I could always draw better than most people. And there was a drawing teacher, and she was outside the box, and I don't remember her name. And do you remember the Penthouse pinups and Playboy pinups?
Yeah, the old magazines with the plastic sleeves.
Yes, and she would have me add collage materials to those pinups. It was very bizarre. I went with it. I didn't really care. And the other students were jealous of me because she really took a liking to me, and I'm like thinking, you people, you know, you make these things right out of it, because they went to high schools where you had good art programs, you know. I went to a city school where it wasn't funded, and she always taught me, no matter how much you like it, you need to take it to the next level. So I always had to take it to the next level. Sometimes I push them too far. Like, that one could have been done 500 years ago. No, I should have quit while I was ahead. But for me, if I don't learn something new from it, it's not just about making a pretty picture. I know how to make a pretty picture. It's about the magic. It's like magic. And then I went to this painting class with Mr. Berlin, and I like working big. You've seen my work. I'm a physical painter. Like, I'm a physical person. I bodybuild. I need to get all that energy out. So Mr. Berlin took a liking to me. He took a shining to me, and he felt that I was wasted at Buffalo. And he said, I know the dean at Parsons, and I want you to apply there. And at the time, it was $10,000 a year. But if you don't have money, $10,000 a year is a lot of money. And my mother said to me, if you get in, we'll figure out a way to pay for it. So I went to art school, and of course I got in, and we were on the payment plan. Now, Parsons School of Design had a lot of wealthy students and a lot of privileged people from the art world. Here, everyone's dressed like Madonna. And here I am, this kid who still dresses the same way I dress now. Clear white shirt, black paint. I was a waitress. I had a waitress at night. My mother could only afford to pay for school, so I needed a way to make a living. It covered my train ticket, it covered my art supplies, it covered everything. Getting me, the suburban white girl from Queens, was certainly not the demographic that they wanted. And I had to work. I didn't really have a choice. And it was the best education money could ever. It was brilliant and changed me as a painter. It changed my life. This studio I talked my husband into moving for a third time. I had dreams, because of my solo show at the Painting Center, I had dreams of a big studio because I work so large. Now, I've always worked with paper, and I decided to switch to fabric. Someone had suggested to me about fabric, and there's a beautiful fabric store. And then I gesso the paper with a clear gesso so the paint holds it. Everything I use is trial and error. I've been called a process artist because I love the physicality of paint. I love what paint can do. So this is like the experiment wall, like what colors are working, what are not working, to see what happens. This is kind of like the ugly wall. You gotta make a lot of ugly work. You gotta throw out a lot of work. You gotta just try, see what happens. Like they get built up and they get really kind of ugly for a bit. Sometimes the little ones, can I save them or not? I don't really know, it doesn't really matter, because for me it's about working large. And my family comes in and they help me clean the studio when it's a disaster, so you could see that it's definitely, this is clean. This is like really clean. One is done. If you look, every single corner is worked. And once I add the collage elements in, I have to then paint on top. It has to be, they can't just sit on top. It has to have a dialogue with the whole painting. And the discard pile is huge. Like you see the few pieces that are on here, there's a whole pile of stuff that didn't make it. Then this one is like this weird one. I was a geometric artist for a long time, and I'd done this residency at Michael David, and he's like, why geometry? And I really didn't know. I like to put things in boxes and orderly and neat, and the grid, I'm fascinated by the grid. Okay, this was the original 48 by 48 map when it all started, and if you look at the textures, the paint is soft, it's hard, it's all this beautiful mark making. And this isn't my original palette. And then you come to this one. This was the very, very first one. And it's an inference blue. That's, if you look, you can see the light, the way the light hits it. It's different angles. And again, the grid. But the grid is, it's got glaze, it's, everything matters. Everything matters. So I want you to have a flat, I want you to have a shiny, I want everything to matter when you look at the painting. This was a map, this was a map, and this was a map. There was a newsday of all the pot stores that were going to be allowed to be in, and it was an overview in Newsday, because I still read the paper, I'm a dinosaur. And that was based on that, but then it transitioned from where I made stuff up. So that was the original map. And then my husband said to me, I said to him, where can I get more map images? And he's like, Lisa, you gotta go on Google Earth. So he showed me it. I haven't quite found what I wanted, but then on Instagram, I saw someone pulled up this map of some foreign country with the floors in France where they wanted to slow it down. So eventually I'll figure it out, and if not, my kids will help me. She redid my Instagram, they do the videos for me. This is a family effort. Like, they didn't have a traditional childhood. They had a mom who was an artist. So I aspire to be like the people I read about. That's my inspiration. Will I die trying? Yes. I've told my daughter she has to set up a foundation, try to make me famous if I'm dead and I'm not famous, because my father will tell me, Lise, you're not famous as an artist until you're dead. So I guess I'll die trying. I can't explain it, but it's about the satisfaction knowing that I had done my best. So for me, knowing that I couldn't have done any better than I did at that moment in time was very satisfying, and I nailed it. And I nailed it really well, and that was exciting.